the freak phone, and here's the party freak, Freddy Freaker, dancing new sensation, grabbing the nation, doing the freak. Call now, 1-900-490-FREAK. Join the party, the fast and easy way to hear what's scamming from New York to LA. Call now, 1-900-490-FREAK. What's happening, what's jamming, party till you drop. Dial and hear the action, what's hot and what's not. Call now, 1-900-490-FREAK. $2 a call.
What you've just watched is something that has, frankly, caused me to lose a lot of sleep as of late. Freddy Freaker, the subject and featured freak of that clip, deeply disturbs me. Not just the hypnotic song that he dances to or the unsettling nature of Freddy getting his freak on while remaining in a T-stance. No, the story behind Freddy Freaker is what really bothers me. Today, we won't just be talking about Freddy Freaker. We're going to be talking about who, or what, Freddy Freaker really is.
It's the freak phone.
So the infamous Freddy Freaker clip is actually something that was very common in the 80s and 90s. This type of commercial would air either with a character from a popular cartoon or some original creation meant to appeal to kids, appearing and telling the kids to call a special 800 or 900 number and rank their parents' phone bill up the ass. It'd be some asshole who'd talk as slow as possible to increase the time that you spent on the phone, or it'd be some weird perv that was probably getting off the little kids. There were tons of these. I remember seeing one with He-Man where he offered a special action figure as a call-in bonus or something like that. There were tons of them, and some of them were weird and low budget like this one. However, there's one problem with Freddy Freaker when comparing him to all these other commercials. All of the other commercials offered something, not just like the aforementioned He-Man one offering a special action figure or things like that, but they offered something. It'd be call in and talk to the Easter Bunny and tell him what you want for Easter, or call in and talk to Santa Claus, call in and hear a story. Freddy doesn't offer anything. It's very clear that you'll be charged $2 for the call, but there's no details on what the call will even contain. Are you calling Freddy? Are you calling the Party Freak hotline to learn where Freddy Freaker parties at, where the freak parties are? I don't know. The strange vagueness of the commercial is where my suspicion began with this whole thing, and here's what I found.
The party freak, Freddy Freak.
So there's a Freddy Freaker wiki, which offers very little information aside from a couple inside jokes and things that are clearly stated in the commercial. What we do know from the wiki, however, is that a man named Patrick Simmons came forward and confirmed that he was the one who designed the Freddy Freaker puppet and was paid $1,500 to do so. Simmons claims that Freddy was intended to launch a toy and merchandise line, and claims that prototypes of a female companion for Freddy, Freddy's brother, and Freddy's fat best friend also exist, though none of these have ever turned up. It's difficult to confirm whether or not this is actually true because the Freddy Freaker ads actually only ran for a very brief period of time, and after they stopped running, literally nothing was done with the copyrights and licenses for either the copywritten term Freddy Freaker or the Party Freak. And while this seems like the most probable explanation, I just think it leaves a lot of questions unanswered. So here's my most likely 100% false theory on Freddy Freaker. So perhaps, maybe, just maybe, I've come up with this just because I didn't like the answer I was given for Freddy Freaker, of where he came from, of what he is, that I came up with my own theory. Put simply, my theory suggests that the Freddy Freaker hotline was something akin to a pre-internet Silk Road type operation where people would call in and discreetly order drugs and drug paraphernalia and guns and things of that nature. You might ask, well, if that's the case, why would they spend so much money on the Freddy Freaker puppet? And my response to that is, I don't know, but I refuse to believe that this is a failed toy line. Where are the rest of the concepts and prototypes for the toys? Where's all the concept art for the other merchandise? Assuming that they didn't just have a warehouse full of merchandise with Freddy Freaker on it all ready to roll out from the get-go, which I find very hard to believe, where is the rest of the concept art? A poster on the Freddy Freaker wiki named Mr. Dingle Schmunkin Hindleherder, I got it, alleges that Freddy Freaker might have even more sinister intentions. Mr. Dingle Schmunkin Hindleherder believes that Freddy Freaker is a malevolent interdimensional being hailing from an alternate dimension, the Freak dimension, where only he exists, and he's able to contact our world using the Freak line. And he created the advertisements in hope of making contact. Dingle Schmunkin Hinderherder goes on to claim that his friend once prank called the Freak line in 1992 only to go missing shortly after. When he tried to call his friend's number a year later, the poster says that he heard a deep, almost demonic voice answer and say,
"Join the party. Freak, freak, freak."
Although 900 numbers no longer work, many still live in fear that one day Freddy Freaker will return. That this isn't the last we've heard of Freddy Freaker. And all we have left to do is get ready to get our freak on.
In the nation, doing the freak. Call now, 1-900-490-FREAK. Join the party, the fast and easy way to hear.